What was the worst phase of your life? Shortly after turning 25 I got really sick. Was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Horrible few years fighting for my life. Pain. Nausea. Depression when it was supposed to be the best times. Forced to drop out of grad school shortly after getting accepted cause I couldn't do it from the hospital. I spent more time in the hospital than at home. 14 months of morphine. 5+ months of being TPN aka being fed though a tube in my arm that kept getting infected so had to move it to the opposite arm a couple times. Then complications such as multiple pulmonary embolisms which are painful, collapsed lung etc. Lost way too much weight way too fast. Face ballooned up, and acne from all the steroids, and mounting medical debts that I stopped counting when it hit $2 million. Shittiest part of my life by far. I myself was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was 14. 20 now. The entire year of 2014 was nothing but pain. I would wake up screaming almost every night, and nothing would stop the pain. Thankfully it was considered just a minor case and I'm in remission now. You sound like you had it 100,000x worse, so I will count my blessings. I have Crohn's and was in remission for over 8 years. 8 years of consistent exercise and rigorous dieting. One day I had numerous flares and it was out remission my doc told me. It took so much effort to maintain and achieve, and I lost it due to stress. So I said duck it and started eating what I wanted. Stopped working out. Just accepted it. Didn't even request steroids when it got bad. Just worked through cause the pain became so familiar. It was just numb. I was told it was a minor case, but it can escalate. Lately it has felt hopeless. This disease gets such little attention, but it is serious shit. After reading all these comments, I just dumped the Taco Bell. Save for Diet Badger Blast. I picked up an hour ago in the trash. And now some raccoon just hit the jackpot. Tonight. Succeed or fail. I'm going to push for a mission again. Thanks guys. You can do it. Great effort. 2016 to 2018. My wife and I were thinking of separating after moving 2 states away for her job. Then she got diagnosed with cancer. I couldn't divorce her in those circumstances. I felt like I was essentially losing her twice while working 56-hour weeks to keep us afloat when she couldn't. I was alone except for her, struggling not to resent her and repair our marriage, and exhausted and anxious all the time. I dropped 30 pounds without intent and was at some point selling my plasma to make rent, but she survived. So far cancer free, and so did our marriage, and we moved back home. And now I have custody of my son from my first marriage and we each have better jobs. We've forgiven each other and built a comfortable, stable life for our family. I would do it all again if I had to. This was worse than boot camp, worse than divorce, worse than my mom dying, and worse than my year deployed to Afghanistan. You're a duckin' champ. Props. And duckin' a champ that beat cancer. Being depressed as a teenager. Missed out on so many things growing up because of it. I still feel like I'm playing catch up in life sometimes. Totally understand. Depression from HS to 40s. And I didn't even realize it. But I have mostly caught up. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with depression? How you realized it? And how you have caught up? Personally I've been depressed since I can remember. Which to be fair is only 12 to 13 years old. Got help after I went hunting alone and put the gun in my mouth, but never pulled the trigger. Honestly I'm still very depressed, but I know what helps and what doesn't. Went through therapy. 6 or 7 different meds but nothing seemed to make it better. I'm only 19 and I'm honestly just holding on to family. I keep every card I've ever been sent and have many notes and other things on my fridge that I read pretty often. I've found that seeing that I'm loved helps. Even like this, I know that I'm loved by my family at the least and that's kinda what pushes me through every day. Trying to stop the drugs I use to numb the world, but it's hard when that's all I want to be. If you have more questions feel free to DM me. I'm fairly open about my past and what I've done and tried to stay away from. Hi, I would love to send you a card or something when quarantine is over. If this sounds like something you'd be okay with, you can PM me your address. LPMU. Ed love a card. Right now, my mom passed away from bone cancer. I left a high paying job to be her full-time caretaker over the final 2 years. That left me living in her house with only a struggling consulting business. COVID killed that. Right now I'm waiting for my unemployment to be approved. But it's been a month and no money yet. No mom. No job. No money. My vehicle's alternator died this morning. Sunday is Mother's Day. I'm a mess edit. I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know what to say. Thank you to everyone who reached out with compassion and offers of support. I'm so grateful. I try to find work from home, so not having a working car is okay for now. Please, instead of helping just me, donate to your local food bank. I heard on the radio that there were over 1,500 cars lined up at a food bank in Texas. Life is hard for so many right now. Blessings to all. You're a ducking champ for being your mom's caregiver for 2 years. That shit is tough. When my dad had colon cancer in 2015, my mom, my brother, and I took turns taking care of him. It was horrible having to watch him die, but I'm glad he was at least able to die at home surrounded by his family. Now my mom and I are going through cancer treatment. She's helping take care of me when I need it because my treatment is more intensive than hers. Holy crap. I'm so sorry that's happened to you and your family. Any idea why cancer is so common in your family? I really hope you both get through this treatment. Sending internet love to you. I have no idea. All of my grandparents lived into their 70s. My dad's mom had breast cancer, and his sister had a preventative double mastectomy after finding out she had a BRCA gene. My dad died from colon cancer. My mom has breast cancer with no family history. I have a relatively rare form of lymphoma, mycosis fungoides, and I first developed symptoms when I was 22, which is not typical. So it's probably just one of those freak things. I have been wondering if there's something in our house that we are being exposed to that is causing it, but there's just no way of knowing. It might just be bad luck. Probably the one where I was shoveling drugs and liquor down my neck for about 10 years straight. About 2 years ago, when I was severely depressed, life wasn't going the way I wanted it to. I was verbally abused every day by my boss. Hated my life and the decisions I made. Couldn't afford rent or food. I was starving most of the time. I was seriously considering just ending it all because I couldn't stand this pathetic existence anymore. Luckily my old boss needed me back, so I quit my toxic job and went back to my old one, and I started making money again. Eventually moved into my own house and things have been great ever since. I still go through periods of depression. I always have struggled with that. But I don't want to kill myself anymore, which is nice. I'm glad that you are doing better now. Stay strong. And I hope that your periods of depression cease. The constant emotional abuse from my biological mom, brothers, and physical abuse from dad. Now I'm adopted, going strong almost 1 year now, and I'm as happy as can be. The happy ending made me smile. I'm happy you're doing better. Love to you and your family. Right now, I'm currently at my rock bottom. I was laid off due to COVID. My husband left me 6 months ago, and I'm still trying to finalize a divorce from the love of my life. Quarantine doesn't help, because all I have is time to think about how shitty my life has become. I know that I'm strong enough to get through this, but at this point it feels impossible. You will get through this, and you will find that the best days of your life is yet to come, if you only let them. Even if it feels like that person was the love of your life, maybe it was just the love of that part of life. Say thank you for the time you've had, and then look forward to the next phase of your life, and appreciate the opportunity of being able to shape your own future. Set new goals and dreams. A new start is a wonderful opportunity, and a few years from now, you will look back at this time and told yourself not to worry too much. Find inspiration and get excited. It's never too late to start anew. Sending hugs to you, internet stranger. Middle school. Parents just got divorced. Mom was going back to school and working 2 jobs, so I never saw her. We lived in a bad part of town, and I was a morbidly obese, pale nerd. Kids literally punched me in the stomach as hard as they could when we changed classes. They'd take my backpack and throw it in the shower and turn the water on. They'd grab my stomach and my chest when I would change in phys. Edition. One day in 8th grade, I finally snapped and got into a huge fight. Mom got called into the school, and when she gets there, I broke down hysterically crying about what had happened to me for years and how I couldn't take it anymore. She called my father, whom she ducking hated, and I spent the next 2 years living with him until she finished school. I'm so sorry fam. I hope they're doing better now. Appreciate it. In those 2 years I grew over half a foot and was the star offensive lineman on the football team. So it worked out okay. Close bracket. That's awesome man. It's so great to hear how you fought through all of that misery to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Stay strong. I mean you probably are, since you're an O-lineman. Middle school. For sure. Honestly awful. These girls invited me to a sleepover and then duct taped me to the ground and told me the house was on fire and I had an asthma attack because they taped my mouth shut. Being a girl in middle school was rough. Middle school girls are the worst. I'm 22 and even now, if I see a pack of them in public I automatically want to hide because I know they're judging me. Look at that high-waisted man. He got feminine hips. That's the one thing I'm sensitive about. I had just dropped out of college. My girlfriend had left me. I loved backing with my mom and I hated myself. I worked the overpass shift at a Hess and I would spend all my days waking up for work, come home, stare in the mirror for hours, and wish myself dead, wake up and do it again. For months, I started drinking, stealing pills and becoming a social recluse. Then, I found music and poetry. I would write my feelings down into rhyme, and it was just so therapeutic. Then I found real therapy. I started on antidepressants and started looking more forward to life. Been on Lexapro for 6 years. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and when things get tough I think about how far I've come. I'm leagues away from that time. There's one thing I've learned in life, it's that even when things seem to be at their lowest, it always gets better. I'd hate myself too if I'd loved backing with my mom. Just kidding. Glad you're well. Thanks for watching. Don't leave before leaving a like to this video.